Welcome to another episode of the Strange Motion Way podcast. I'm your host, Tim Strange, along with my first and current wife,
Carrie Strange.
Tonight, we got the guy that runs HRBB Wheels, Hot Rods by Boyd. He also worked at American Racing. We'll talk about that. Of course, he worked for Hot Rods by Boyd. He is the son of the late legend Boyd Coddington. Seen cars go together like Cadzilla and Shazoom. Drove across country with his dad in Shazoom. I have my Shazoom t-shirt on.
Oh, you got one. Nice job, dude. Thank you. Yeah, that's awesome.
And he's seen the American Hot Rod Show from the other side. And he runs, I'm going to say, my second favorite podcast series. No offense to the Roadster Shop, obviously behind ours. The Hot Rods by Boyd podcast. You need to do a few more episodes.
Oh, and, I know. It's another job in itself, as you know, but it's fun. I love it. Every time we do it, I love it.
And he, along with David Steele, was one of the guys that kind of gave me the nudge that, hey, you should be doing this too. So sometimes we cuss you, I guess. Sometimes we thank you. So we this week we posted 80 episodes now that we're up to. So tonight,
dude, you've caught up to me, and I've been doing it since 2018 or 2019.
Yeah.
I do believe you're episode 82 or 3. So yeah.
Yeah, he'll be
2 or 3.
83, I think.
Okay, I said 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I can't be right about anything, so.
Here we go.
Oh man.
Yes, dear. That's what you say. Yes, dear.
She's a little punchy. It's her birthday in less than a week, so.
Oh.
What does that make me punchy for?
Well, but she won't tell me what she wants for her birthday because she's one of them wives that she just buys her crap whenever she wants to. So.
Yeah.
So let's go back to were you Christopher, Chrissy, or always just Chris?
No. Well, I guess I'm Christopher. I forget my name's Christopher because I've been going by Chris forever. But yeah, Chris, that's me.
So how was it growing up as in the household with Boyd as your dad? Like how old are you now?
I'm 51.
Okay, you're just a couple years younger than me. And when you were born, he was knee deep in the hot rod world at that time already.
No, not really. He was actually working at Disneyland when I was born.
But did he build his?
Yeah, he had a couple, builds under his belt in the early 70s. So I was born in 74. And then, I want to say, yeah, he was building, I think you've seen that picture of my dad it's in his garage in Cyprus at the first house where I was born at. He was building cars out of there, and, he'd, befriended guys like Bob Bauer and Fat Jack and John Butera and these guys. And, I think it was like Bob Bauer was probably one of the guys that kind of pushed him to say, hey, Boyd, you need to consider, because my dad worked graveyard back at Disneyland, worked in the machine shop. Because
the real question is, nobody's ever asked you this, is did you guys get free passes to Disney?
Well, okay, so yeah, the answer is yes. But back then, it was free to get in. Remember, you used to buy, they used to call it like e-tickets. They had different levels of tickets. Okay. So it was free to get in, and then you would have tickets to go on rides.
Oh, okay.
So that the term, it's an e-ticket ride. That's an old term. Like Space Mountain would be an e-ticket, So, yeah. So my mom used to take me. My mom was a nurse growing up. So my dad worked graveyard. He'd come home. My mom would go to work. And, yeah, I have a few memories of because we moved out of that house when I was like 3.5 years old. Then we moved over to the infamous Orange Avenue house where my dad built, the Vern Lewis Coupe, Jamie Musselman Roadster, among others, before they moved.
Doesn't your brother still live in that house?
My mom does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Greg has his shop in the back. Does like a little bit of everything. Looks like a little bit of like Sanford and Son in the back of the house. It's pretty cool. He's got, you name it, Greg's got it over there.
Yeah. So how was it in the Coddington household before hot rods were full time? Obviously there was stuff going on in the garage, so you kind of got the bug early. And
yeah,
did you have any idea as a young kid, like that you were around all these legends? Like we just had Bill Ganal on, and he's like, when I was little kid, he goes, I didn't realize what it meant. There's just some guy in my living room, and it was Wally Parks. You had all them people like that around when you were a kid.
Yeah. I mean, the joke is, I thought everybody had a Bridgeport mill and a lathe in their garage, you know. But looking back, I mean, when we were in Indian guides and stuff like that. So when we had Pinewood derbies, they'd come over to the house and we'd build the cars and stuff like that, and it was cool. Yeah, it was interesting. Um, and yeah, it was just a part of my life. So when you grow up with that stuff, it's not until I was older that I realized, yeah, I grew up a little different than most people. But we were
So
always
how
around
long
car.
did
We were all our friends, were all car people. My mom we had other friends that weren't in the car business. But for the most part, all the people that we hung out with were car people.
Yeah, it's kind of how we grew up. I mean, I was a little more than you, but
Mhm.
everybody we grew up either were hot rod people, into stock cars, or at least they liked to watch stock cars, or your dad did demo derbies. I mean, there was Harley guys. There was I can't imagine being around people that didn't have something like that.
A
Your
hobby or
your grandpa Olson was he fished and that was it. He
Yeah.
wasn't into anything. I don't think he ever went to the demo derby or nothing. Maybe did he?
no,
No.
he worked all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as a kid and as you're growing up, so Tim has pretty much known his entire life, I want to build hot rods. Was there ever anything that you were like, I want to be a dentist, or was it always, I want to do something
That
with
was one of
cars?
my questions down here.
Not a dentist. I would definitely not be a dentist.
I think you
No,
wanted to be a
I
rock
didn't.
star. Yeah.
What's that?
You wanted to be a rock star for a while, didn't you?
I got into the band thing for a while. Yeah. I don't know if I wanted to be a rock star. I like playing music because my brother went to the performing arts school for percussion, Greg,
Oh,
and
okay.
he was in bands, and I was like, this is kind of cool. So probably in my early 20s, we formed a band together for a few years, and we did that.
Did
That
you
was our
play
hobby.
Did you play the tambourine?
No, I probably should have though. I probably would have been better at it. I play guitar. Um, but it was cool. It was just like friends hanging out and
Yeah.
you
What type
know.
of music did you guys play, and what were you into? We'll go back to some more
Um
younger
yeah, and
childhood stuff while we're on that.
let's see. I started it was probably like late 90s, like 98, 99. Cause I think let's see, how old would I have been? I don't know. It was like 98 was a bad year because that's when like Boyd's Wheels went bankrupt and you know things were just, I was young and things were falling apart, and it was kind of like an escape for me and Greg, I
Yeah.
guess,
Yeah.
because, when you grow up and you watch your dad go from the garage to, Wall Street and having 400 employees and then going down to nothing and then building it back up, it was kind of I don't know, I escaped in music for a little bit
Yeah.
and, went back to work for my dad in like 2000, I think. So,
Okay.
there's like a 2 year gap. I just kind of, I had just a regular job to make some money and just, do the music thing. So yeah, it was cool. But I mean, by the time I became working age, like 90, I was like 15, 16. That's when the wheel shop started to take off. And it was
So
just
how
kind
was
of,
it as a young kid? Were you old enough to remember conversations hearing in the living room or the kitchen that your dad wanted to quit that good machinist job with, I assume, benefits, and we're going to build hot rods? Do you remember any of that
no,
conversation?
I was too young at that point because that would have been, I was probably four or five when that
Okay.
happened. But I've heard all the stories, with the podcast and stuff, having people on, and that was kind of the reason we did the podcast, because we did a pretty cool video before Bob Bowder passed away. We went up there and it was cool. We just did like we did a video with the guys at Auto Revolution, um, talking about the Vernlos Coupe, and really at that point, you know, Bob was like right in the middle of it. I mean, Bob lived up in Crestline, and he'd come down and he lived in the front room of our house for, shoot, I don't even know how long, a year or two,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd go back up on the weekends to his house, and you know, um, yeah, it was cool. So it's like when I was 15 years old, that's when the wheel shop started really taking off because the sport truck thing kind of pushed the wheel thing, and I mean, really, I mean, Boyd's Wheels was probably a lot of people were making wheels, but they were making just mass producing wheels.
Mhm,
So when the billet wheel thing came out, I mean, the Boyd's Wheels was probably the first true made to order wheel company.
mhm.
And yeah, I was on a machine when I was 15 and worked my way up. I did, besides polishing and programming, I pretty much have done everything at Boyd's Wheels. Um, Ended up in the marketing department, developed the first website, and got into like video and graphic design. So we did that. Um, so
Okay,
yeah,
so
I don't
we're
know. I mean,
going
I
too
remember
far. You want your Carrie is always she always
I'm gonna
has a
blow
high
my
school
nose here.
question.
Okay, yeah. So we'll go back to high school or school. Were
Yeah,
you in what kind of student were you
man.
first?
I mean, I didn't apply myself. That's the word I think they use. I
That's
didn't
a
apply
very
myself.
common thing
It
in
is,
this
yeah.
for this answer.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I just procrastinated like everybody else and didn't really care. I was into everything else but school. And I was
Mhm.
like, okay, what do I need to get out of here? C's? Okay, perfect. Yeah. And I went to
What
commute.
was your first mode of transportation, like first car that you had?
Oh boy. It was an it was an 85 or 80, I can't remember, 85 or 86 V6 Camaro. And it was gold. And it hey, it was cool as my first car. It was my mode of transportation, but I had no, seeing all the cool cars being built at the shop, I had no aspirations to customize that thing at all. It was just kind of my little, my car. And then I got into the Japanese cars when I was like 18. I had a all-wheel drive Eclipse uh, that I used to go to street races with, and that was fun. You know,
Hmm. Those are quick.
um, was it quick?
They
I mean,
were quick, right? Yeah.
back then, I mean, I had the thing up to like 200, 220 horsepower, which I don't know. That's comparatively, that's not very fast these days, but it was cool,
Yeah.
But I mean, and it was funny because we used to go street race over in Rancho Dominguez, which actually was in front of, there was two streets that were a half mile long. And I mean, I think it was Sunday nights, they'd get both of those streets packed with cars. And, on a good night, people be out there for an hour or two before the cops come. Um, but that was pretty cool. I mean, that was like, that would have been like 92, 93. Um, that was a cool experience. And then, yeah, no, I mean, I was machine shop for a while at the shop. What else did I do? I mean, like I said, I did everything at the shop. I worked at the shipping department. I drove around. I, ended up in the marketing department, and that was fun.
So when you were going to school, was it all go to school, get out of school, go to home, go to the shop, or were you in
Yeah,
any sports? Were
I
you in
wasn't
any
really, yeah, I would. So in high school, when I was 15, before I could drive, I'd go home, pretend to do homework. And then like at 4 o'clock, my mom would drive me to the shop because we only lived maybe 3 miles from the shop.
Mhm.
I'd go work from like 5 to 9 every day. And then I'd go home, go to bed. And I did that like, I think I was like Monday through Thursday. I would do that. And luckily my parents gave me Friday off. But, you know, that was
Yeah.
fun, you
Mhm.
know. Growing up with hot rod guys and machine shop guys, they didn't give a shit that I was the boss's son, you know.
You
There was
probably got heckled harder
Oh,
because
big
yeah.
time, big time. That's where I got my tough skin from, is because these guys didn't care, you
Yeah.
know. But they treated me well. I learned a lot from a lot of people. Still talk to a lot of some of the decent amount of those guys.
Mhm.
Um,
And growing up there was like a cast of also people that turned into amazing people that like you talk about it on your podcast, the Boyd University people that started there, then did stuff like Mike Curtis, Jesse James,
oh
Keith Russell, all these guys worked there. So these weren't, and Simo, if you listen to those podcasts, these weren't normal guys that you were
no,
hanging around,
no,
around with anyway.
no. I thought they were normal, but then after you go out into the world, you're like, nah, these guys are a little wild at times. But oh, and even before that, I remember, with Lars, like I remember being a kid sitting in the lunchroom, and it was like these guys didn't go out. Everyone packed their lunch, right? And they all sat in the lunchroom, and it was like there was a table at the Monroe shop. There was a table in the center, and that's where, like, I would say Lars would hold his court. He was like the funny guy, and
Which
then
he
there
had
was
a bunch
chairs.
of Swedes came over to work at Boyd's through the
Oh
years,
yeah,
right?
God, at one point I think there was 5 or 6 of them.
Hmm.
But man, they were funny guys, and it was just like, I mean, they didn't give a shit. I was like, back then I was probably like 11, 12 years old, and I'm hearing stuff. I'm like, wow, that's wild, like it's just, and yeah, no, that was some good times back then. Um, yeah, and then I remember, so then I went to community college because we lived right across the street from Cypress College. It's community college, and like most kids in high school, unfortunately, like, to get, oh, you got to go to college. Okay, so I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I think at one point I started out as a history major, which I don't know. Not being very studious and like to read. I don't know why I was doing that. I just had to pick something. Then I decided, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go into marketing. So I was sitting in this class, and I'm listening to a lady that's never started a business.
Mhm.
I'm reading out of a book that at that point that would have been like, let's just say that was 93, 94. It's a book about business and marketing that was written in 1982.
Hmm.
And I just remember watching my dad's business take off, and I just told my parents, I'm like, this seems a little bit like I learn way more at the shop than I can in this
Hmm.
class. So I did that for a little bit, but then I got involved. The internet came about, and it was like, you got to have a website. And I said, I can do that. And I jumped into that. And then I just convinced my parents that I'm like, look, I want to do other things. So they sent me to a bunch of like certification classes. I remember it was Photoshop 1.0, and I got certified in that. I got a bunch of video classes that I went to, 3D stuff I started doing. And, you
Did
know,
you learn website stuff? Remember everything, all the fancy stuff? I remember it's like when we build our website, we used to
oh, there
never.
was Flash,
You
like
talking
Yeah,
about?
yeah,
Shockwave.
flash, the
Yeah.
flag.
Shockwave and Flash, and it was like
Yeah.
they had all this fancy stuff that was coming out, but the internet speeds weren't there, right?
Mhm.
So everyone wanted to do something really cool, but then on the other end, on the consumer side, like, the people, they couldn't watch any of that. They didn't have remember plugins. You had to read the right plugins.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, I did that, and then the last year that Boyd's Wheels was at SEMA, I did the video for that with another guy that I went to school with. That was pretty cool. Um, but then the Boyd's Wheels thing collapsed, and then I kind of was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. At that point, I was like, how old would I have been? 24, 23, 24.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, and I just kind of, you
So
know,
before we get into that era, what
oh
are
yeah,
what are the cars that like you running around the shop as young in school with like how old would you have been like when Cadzilla was being built?
uh, 15,
Okay. Do you remember
14,
like how
14.
awesome like that car was? Did you guys have a vision that that thing is going to be remembered as one of the best custom cars ever in history at that time?
Well,
It's like, oh, we're just building a car for a rock star, like that's what we do here at Boyd's.
yeah, pretty much. But I remember one moment where my dad, it was at the unveiling at Cadzilla, because you can remember before that they had the Eliminator Coupe, which
Mm-hmm.
it was iconic in its own way because at the birth of MTV, all the ZZ Top videos had it, and it was like, when they brought Larry Erickson in, and it was just kind of like, you know, looking back, I can see, you know, it's kind of the importance of all of it. But my dad made a comment to my mom, like at the unveiling, he goes, you know what? He goes, these guys are just gonna, like, he was afraid that they were just gonna flog this thing like the Eliminator Coupe, you know? And he's just like, I don't think these people realize like how important this car is. Like, to him, that was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just kind of thinking like, I hope everybody appreciates this car because it's not the Eliminator Coupe. It's not it's on a totally different level.
We had Steve Anderson do our podcast earlier
Mhm.
springtime, and he was one of the editors at Hot Rod. Him and Canan, Rob Canan, that drove it to
Yeah.
Canada that year, and he talked about the stories of that, and it was pretty awesome. So,
Yeah. So, Yeah, Shazoom, because of the road trip, holds a special spot in my heart.
So before you did the road trip with Shazoom, did you ever come out to middle of the country? As we did, somebody we were talking to Brizio the other night. Everybody goes back east. Did you remember coming to like Street Rod Nationals as a kid and work the wheel booth and stuff like that? Did you ever do that before you did the road trip and the
Yeah,
Shazoom?
I mean, by the time I was probably 17, 18, I would fly into some of the shows, not a ton, because we had a pretty good workforce by that time, and I was in school, but definitely remember going to a lot of different shows with my dad and just the crew and Pete Peterson, the infamous stories of, because that big rig took a couple hours to set up,
Mm-hmm.
and he'd make you get on top of that thing and all those aluminum poles that held the awning on, and he'd be like, "Hey, I'm gonna go get a screwdriver, I'll be right back," and you know 2 hours later you're done, and he's like, "Oh, hey, thanks guys." you know
But you kept falling for it and climbing up on the roof each event,
yeah,
didn't you?
but hey, you know what, we were all young kids, and that's what we
Yeah,
did,
yeah,
but that was good times.
yeah. That was the time like people didn't have rigs then. There's some that do now, but being with Boyd's, they were so big. You had two rigs at one time. There was a yellow and a red, right?
Yeah, big red and big yellow, and then there was a little red. um Yeah, so that was kind of a big deal. And, I remember my dad sneaking me into SEMA when I was 14, 15, when it was just in like the one center hall. And,
Mm-hmm.
Boyd's Wheels had the biggest booth there. And yeah, that was cool. That was good times.
Like, so the wheel company got going and you were still doing the billet stuff. Then there was cast wheels.
Yeah.
And you say that there at one time the wheel company alone had over 300 employees.
Yeah. I think it was sort of like around 380, I think was where we peaked out at.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's now small mom and pop company at that time when you got that
No, no. Um, yeah, it was kind of crazy. Looking back, it was crazy. I mean, we had like 40 guys in our polish shop, you know?
Wow. I bought a set of Boyd's tri fans for my Chevelle with my wrecked square body truck money when I was like, what was right before where we were starting dating?
20.
You feeling okay?
Mhm.
Weird look on your face. So I was like 20 years, 19, yeah, 20. I put the voids on it and I wrecked the truck, sold the part of the truck out, kept the money. I couldn't buy wheels and tires because I bought new tires the year before and it had 14s on it. So I bought a set of 14 sixes and 14 sevens or sevens and eights because I had the tires. I had to be 14s for my 64 Chevelle. And it won awards at Street Machine Nationals and Super Chevy. And then years later, I still had that car and they had a deal at Boyd's, because that would have been 91 or something like that. You could trade in your old styles and they'd give you so much off on a new upgraded wheel. And I called out there and I was like, oh, I mean, I'd really like to get some 17s. Okay, what do you got? And I go, 14s. They're like, we're not giving you anything for a set of 14s.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
they didn't want the 14s back. Like if they were 15s or something, they would have. But so yeah, those wheels stayed on that car. And when I sold that car, they were 14-inch tri fans, man.
Nice.
Yeah, my first billet wheel.
That's cool, man.
Still living at home and hadn't started my shop yet, and that's about the time we started dating.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. I said, yeah, I did the same thing with my Eclipse because it had brand new tires on it, but I wanted billet wheels, so I put a set of Monterey's on that. And then I just want after Shazoom was built, I told my dad, I go, you know what, I want to come up with a new design. He goes, well, go talk to the guys. So I had the first set of Deuce Ninjas on that Eclipse.
Oh, cool.
And I mean, nowadays we take pictures all day, right, with our cameras, but I still can't. I wish I had a picture of that car. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I didn't have the money to buy the coilovers, so me and Dustin Hill's brother Jason, one day we just cut the coils or heated them up and lowered the thing. But that was cool.
Yeah, there's stories all the time too that I've heard that your dad always leased like pretty awesome vehicles. But then under the lease, he would lower them, shave the handles, and all
Oh,
of
yeah.
that. Try to turn them back in when the lease was up.
Yeah. Yeah, that would happen. I think the last Mercedes he had before he died, they basically said no more leasing to Boyd on cars, you know. But yeah, he always had something. He was he was into the Mercedes wagons for a while. He was into Cadillacs for a while.
See,
Yeah.
that's cool. That's what you're supposed to have. I know he won't listen to this, but I was really let down. We did Roy Brizio, and his will go up the week before yours here. And his daily driver right now, I mean, I didn't ask him through the years what he had. It's just a stock pickup truck, no lowering, no wheels, no nothing, just blend away in traffic. And I'm like, it just broke my heart a little bit.
Sometimes you just have to do that. Sometimes you just have to be normal.
Yeah, you want to get away from everything that I kind of get that too. Yeah, you don't want to be bothered at every gas station and everything with driving a hot rod or a lowered something.
Yeah. I don't know. My dad always, whatever he had, he always customized.
Yeah.
At least put wheels on it and lower it, you know? So, and I've posted some pictures on the Instagram there of, so the Mercedes he had and the wagons. It's kind of cool.
So there's also a bunch of cast of characters. Do you remember when Chip Foose started coming around the shop? And what was he doing when he first was there?
I remember him as the guy. He was just designing shirts and stuff for my dad because my dad was using Tom Taylor for most of the design work. And then I remember he just, I think I'm trying to think what year that was. I should know. But yeah, I don't know. He just kind of hit it off with Chip and then had a little area next door. They in the complex next door had a little unit, and that was Chip's little workshop, because Chip was come from Art Center, doing clay models and all that stuff, and it was kind of cool, Yeah, that was a whole nother era.
Yeah, like the Boyd, really Boyd. You guys changed the industry. All the smoothie stuff, and the smoothie stuff. The designer back then, that was still Tom Taylor.
Yeah,
why am I blank on the name? I should just the coupe.
Verloose.
Yeah, Verloose. I'm upset with myself that I blanked out on that. And then the Roadster, and then the Murray the Phaeton, and all that. That's like my era of hot rods. Like seeing that stuff at the Roadster show this year. Of all those past, I love. Then we had Tom Vogeley on here, and he worked with your dad when he was still working out of the garage, and he was telling us stories on that podcast that he cut those A-arms for that Murray red Phaeton out of plate billet aluminum, and then hand filed them and drilled them, tapped them, and then they anodized them. It says he cut them out and hand filed them. It wasn't like, because CNC stuff wasn't even really around back then yet, right?
It was just starting. I have a picture that I posted of, because when Johnny Anderson started there, I think it was the Gambler coupe that I have a picture of the table with all the parts, all machined raw.
Yeah, you posted that, and I've reshared all purple anodized stuff. The picture that
so it was before anodized, and then the same table where it was all anodized. And you look back and go, okay, now with CNC stuff, that you can probably get that stuff done in a month or two, and that was probably a year or more's worth of work.
Yeah, wow.
So
yeah, that's my. I mean, I love early cars and all that, and I love a little bit of everything. But that billet era, that was when I really started paying attention more to the magazines. I was getting older. I had my own stuff. I was starting to work, and I appreciated all the work that it went into them because I was starting to get my hands a little dirtier at that time. And I'm so ready for that era. Everything comes back. I mean, OBS is behind you or back too. So I'm really hoping this anodized billet stuff comes back. Some people says, please no, but if I ever win the lottery, I'm just going to build a couple for myself. I don't really care.
Yeah, I mean, the anodizing stuff was cool, but I think, like we've been using like Cerakote for a while. That's kind of the look. It's been around for 10 plus years now. The brushing, I still am a big fan of brush wheels,
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was cool to watch all that stuff.
And then you worked there. Jesse James was there too. Was he before Chip, or was he there at the same time as Chip?
Yeah, same time as Chip. Jesse came on probably 95 maybe. And he was in there building a bike, and then we started building motorcycle wheels.
So Jesse,
And
did he just do motorcycle stuff? Did he ever help out on the hot rod stuff?
I don't remember him doing, maybe,
Yeah.
but I don't remember him working on the car stuff. He
Yeah,
was
because a
building, he
lot of
built
people
that.
that don't know the history, Boyd was building motorcycles and stuff, and there's one of my, it might be one of them like school folders that I had, and I sent you a couple. That there's a picture of like a red B400 or a black B400, then a red car, and then like the one kid was sweeping up aluminum shavings out in the parking lot or something. There was a Harley there, or one of the magazines that was like a white and silver scalloped Harley.
That was one of Little John's bikes.
Okay.
Because for a period of time, Little John worked for my dad there at the shop. Him
Mhm.
and Crispy Terror, they had like a right next to the apparel store. They were putting together those bikes, and then the motorcycle wheel division started, and then Jesse and Simon were working on that side of it.
Okay.
That was more towards the end.
And then there was a time you guys did, speaking of the swag store, what was the clothing company? Shop Rags.
Shop Rags.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody had to have Shop Rag shirts or something about out in the Midwest. I remember getting a Shop Rag shirt, and I thought I was the shit.
Yeah. No, it was cool. They had, because we in the Shop Rag store, we had our SEMA display up there like full time. So they just that was cool. That was interesting, because it was like, I mean, Boyd's Wheels and Hot Rods by Boyd, that was like a destination spot. You come in,
Yeah.
coming from out of town, you're a car guy, you would go, because it was a complex. You could go, you know, go
I
see
never,
the wheel
I
shop.
never made it to California in that time. Our first time going, well, I flew to San Mateo for the Roadster show, and then we didn't like go out there to spend time till we drove our 54 out 2003 4 when we got invited to Fresno for Blackie show, and we did like a little path, but through LA we kept rolling through. We were dragging a 48-foot trailer, so
We were scared.
Midwest country people,
Yeah.
you didn't want to get off the freeway. Yeah.
Yeah, because it was quite the complex. And then all that ended in right at the beginning of '98.
So talk about, before we go there, let's talk about driving Shazoom across country.
Yeah, and I'm sure you saw the video we did a few months ago documenting it. But basically, yeah, my dad, I think I just had graduated, and my dad was like, "Hey, what are you doing next week?" or whatever it was. I said, "Well, I'm working." So because that was just my summer, I would just work at the wheel shop, and he's like, "I want you to go. We're gonna drive Shazoom cross country," because he did, like, the year before, he did a Luma Coupe. They took a Luma Coupe across country. Um, my dad was just kind of on a mission to show people he did build trailer queens that they could be driven across country. And so it was me and my dad, and then we had Bob Bowder and Gray Baskerville following us. And we rotated, because Gray was documenting it for Hot Rod magazine. And we had to actually take back a trailer back to back east. So Bob drove it was an OBS dually, flame dually, with pulling a trailer, and yeah, it was really cool. I forget the length of time, but it was a good part of a week. I think we might have left on a Sunday, and
Where'd you
then
end up? What did you go to? Canfield Super Nationals or Good Guys?
no, good guys Indy.
Okay. Okay.
So we had stopped. Super Shops was a big customer then, so we did meet and greets at Super Shops. The people that make our rim shells, even to this day, they have a factory in Terre Haute, Indiana. So we stopped there, and then we went to Indianapolis, and which was cool because my dad was busy, and he's like, "Hey, they're gonna do like a little parade around the Indy 500 track. You want to just take Shazoom?" And I go, "Shit, yeah, hell yeah, dude." I was like, it was me and one of the employees from Boyd's Wheels who was out there. We took it around the track, and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, we always did that.
How fast did you go?
No, they didn't. It was a little parade. They didn't let us go that fast.
Yeah, I remember we did it once. I drove my 54. This is 95 6 Pro Street car. Drove it around, She videoed with a huge camera, couldn't hardly get it out of the chop top, and it was sprinkling. I remember we were going like 40 mph, got a pace truck because I don't want somebody doing something stupid and sliding.
Exactly. Same
And
deal.
then we watch it on the VCR tape on fast forward. It looked like we were racing. So then
That's funny.
years later, we did it in a 33, 34 3-window coupe, fenderless, kind of mini tub. And we did it. And she's like, she's driving. She's like, I want to pass somebody. I want to pass. It's like, no, we're going to get in trouble. Don't behave yourself. She doesn't follow the rules very well.
Yeah.
And right on the last straight, they always had the photo people, photo sports, whatever, taken as you cross the yard of bricks, then they give you a ticket, It's like, oh, then they buy the picture.
Yeah. And
somebody got around her and passed her right as we crossed the yard of bricks, and the guy's got her like on a foot. She still to this day does not let me live that down. It's like, you let that guy pass me, it's like,
and he got me on the inside, so the picture was like you couldn't even see us.
You couldn't even see our car, that we were driving in the
so
picture.
Yeah.
So mad.
She's never gonna live that down.
Well, that's the competitive side of her, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm like, at the very end, who cares if I just floor it and go? Because what are they gonna do? Kick us off? We're done.
Such a troublemaker.
Such
a troublemaker.
All right.
So then you guys had everything. There was a card consignment place there, and then some of this is like you said, and then it went bad. But I've heard rumors of certain people, and we don't throw people under the bus or talk bad about. We didn't give him our rules before we started.
Rules.
If they're not here to defend themselves, so I'm friends with a guy that worked there. I wasn't back then, but I am now. Brad Fanshaw worked there. He come from marketing from BMX and Vision Streetwear and all this, and did all this marketing stuff. So then he gets in with Boyd and a lot of that stuff. He was there when the clothing company started, right? Was Brad kind of behind the shop rags? And then whose idea was it to, hey, let's think we should go public on the stock market?
I guess maybe, maybe Brad was kind of pushing for that. Mm-hmm. But I mean,
was at that time, was anybody was even like Edelbrock or Holly, was any of those even people on the stock market back then? I don't remember. I remember as Boyd was, oh my God, the first hot rod company to ever go on the stock market. I still don't understand the stock market. I'm a poor car builder. But was anybody like that in the aftermarket? Was there anybody that you remember?
I don't think so. Not that I recall. I wasn't too in the know on that.
Now there is, Edelbrock, Holly Group.
Most of them.
I mean,
yeah.
I believe the Aeromotive Group. A lot of them now are, but they're also owned differently. It's, what do you call them? Company, how they own private equity companies and all that type of stuff. It's a little bit different industry. But what year did he go public on the stock market?
95 maybe.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. So
it was. How long did the company last after it went public on the stock market? As an outsider looking in, that was like what the downfall was, because that company really, I don't know if it was set up to run like that.
Well, things were going good, but we were selling a ton of wheels to Japan.
Yeah.
Like a ton of wheels. And, their economy tanked. We kind of overexpanded at a certain point.
Because that was kind of the era, speaking of like the Japan market, a lot of people were building Slam Caprice wagons and Astro vans and putting wheels and stuff and shipping them cars over it like that. That was kind of that era too, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And then, like Super Shops was having financial trouble. They owed us a bunch of money. And it was just kind of like, yeah, it just kind of happened all real quick. So, it was really only a public company for maybe 3 years.
Okay.
And then, you get certain people in the business, when you're a public company, you get board of directors, you get, maybe people that don't have the best interest of the business in mind, or don't know how,
I see that now in some companies. You hear what their boards do, and it's like, well, they're not real car people. They're business people. They're bean counters. Their heart's not in the right place. I guess I am going to throw somebody underneath the bus because they're not going to listen to this. The Warner Brothers group of killing all the car TV shows and all of that stuff, because those people up there at that level, they don't know what a billet wheel is. They don't know what a Mustang to a Camaro
Nah.
is. They have
And you
no
know,
heart and no passion into the business.
yeah, and I got a lot of experience dealing with private equity people owning business because when I went to American Racing, you know, because we sold our business in 2005 to Platinum Equity, who owned American Racing,
Oh,
and
okay.
just seeing how those people operate, it's just it's different, totally
So
different.
that's a little one of my questions about business. And if you don't want to talk about it, it's not negativity or nothing. So the Boyd Wheel brand, Boyd Wheels, went bankrupt. And then you said that private equity company bought it. The story I always heard that did your dad buy the Boyd Wheels name back before he passed, or was he
So
working on that?
here's the timeline of events. Basically, Boyd's files bankruptcy in '98. My dad, you know, at that point, my dad was just focused on rebuilding the
Mhm.
business. Um, you know, so he started because there was a couple car projects that he wanted to finish, but then you know he wanted to start the wheel business again. So he
And at
started.
that time, speaking of cars, still one of my, I'd say, top five favorite Coddington cars was Led Zephyr come out after the wheel company went down when he started when he
Yeah,
came
so
back.
that was actually started. That was started when it was over at Marcel's, and Ron Kraft was the original owner of that car. My dad
Mhm.
was building it for Ron Kraft, and actually, it's funny because Ron Kraft. So when all this went down, you know, there's a point where you know my dad really wasn't on good terms with Chip and you know some of these guys there, and I remember Ron Kraft calling me. Ron Kraft passed away, but this was when I first started, like 2011 or 12 on my own there. I remember Ron Kraft calling me, and he kind of filled in some of the story because it was over at Marcel's, and Ron was visiting Marcel's. My dad wasn't there, and Chip happened to walk in. And I remember Ron told me the story, and he goes, "You know, the one thing I regret," he goes, "I asked Chip what he would do differently with the car, like what he would do." And Chip maybe told him to give him some pointers or say maybe I do this. And then Ron called my dad the next day and said, "Hey, you know, I was over at Marcel's and I was talking to Chip, and he said," and my dad just kind of went off on him. And then the next day, Ron said, "Your dad called me the next day and says, I want to buy the project off you."
Mm. Yeah, because when
So,
you're putting, it could be something minuscule too. It's like if you put your heart and soul in your next art piece, and it could have been something as simple as, oh, move this molding an inch, or
oh
move
yeah,
the
no,
body line 2 inches. You know, it could have been
no,
something as simple as that too. But yeah,
yeah, you know what? I mean, so my dad ended up buying the Led Zephyr and then ultimately finished it, and then Tony Paisano ended up with it. Um,
and
yeah,
Tony still owns another old Boyd 3 window, right?
got a 3 window, and I think he's still got a blue Boydster.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
I talked to Tony
so
every once. He's a cool dude, super
yeah,
cool.
really cool, really nice guy.
Yeah.
So yeah, but yeah, so basically Boyd's Wheels went BK '98. My dad was starting, he was, you know, when they found out he was starting a business, you know, he was trying to say Boyd Coddington Wheels, but he got sued by the company that bought Boyd's Wheels out of bankruptcy. They weren't really doing anything with it, but you know, my dad, they were in lawsuits for a couple years, and then they finally just negotiated to be able to use his name. So that's when it, you know, it went from B Coddington in around 2000, 2001. That's when we switched to Boyd Coddington Wheels. And then
And
we,
that sucks, but that's the thing that I don't agree with big business when it's your name and you're not allowed to use your name.
yeah,
That's that's all trademarks and all that stuff. But it's
oh
just like,
yeah, but you know, um, but yeah, and, you know, I came back on in 2000 because like I said, I was doing the band thing for a while and
mhm.
partying and just, you know,
And you went to work for American Racing kind of during that time, right?
no, this is before that.
Oh,
So
okay.
I was at a phone company and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna work here for 6 months." Because my dad's like, "Hey, I'm not ready to bring you back." And I was like, "Hey, I'm fine." I'm like, I just kind of I didn't work for 6 months and I needed money. So I went to go work there. That was supposed to be a 6-month gig. It ended up being a year and a half. And then my dad, on April 2000, my dad's like, hey,
Working for the phone companies, I've known some guys. It's a pretty good gig with good benefits, though, right? For the phone
ah,
company.
I mean, it's called, it was Air Touch Cellular when I was there. And
Yeah.
then it ended up being it's Verizon now.
Oh,
So,
okay.
but yeah, no, I remember, yeah, that was a trip. But it was kind of a good escape, you know, and I
Mhm.
saw how corporate America worked on that side. And I then in 2000, my dad's like, hey, I want you to come back to work for me. So I said, yeah. So I went back to work for him in April or May of 2000. Um, and then we did that deal until, um, well, let's see. Platinum Equity bought American Racing in May of 2005, and they immediately called my dad and said, "Hey, we're looking to purchase other brands." My dad's like, "Well, I'm not really willing to, ready to sell," but he had conversations with them, and then by the end of the year, it was just kind of like we needed to kind of because the two-piece thing was, I mean, we were doing like 25,000 wheels a year, but it was still nothing compared to Boyd's wheels. But that whole industry moved from, we were building like it was two-piece construction, but we were building like thousands and thousands of like the same size and offset. So
Mhm.
the industry started building a lot of one-piece wheels, right? So we kind of needed to get into that. And then there's a huge, huge shift of American manufacturing over to China.
Mhm.
American Racing had put all this money into this big factory in Mexico, and I don't even think they only built a handful of parts out of it because when Platinum Equity came in, they said, "Why are we wasting this money? Let's just move everything to China."
Mhm.
Um, which we were kind of opposed to, but we also needed to get in the bigger volume stuff, because two-piece stuff just started getting smaller and smaller, more specialty fitment stuff. So we went there, and that was another frustrating experience. I mean, I learned a lot, but a lot from just, I don't know. I got my opinions of private equity firms, because they just come in and they just, they operate off a different agenda than what would do as a mom and pop.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Um,
With you. We're
100%.
with you. We see a lot of that with
yeah, because
companies.
I mean, I was privy to I was in a lot of meetings because I basically by that point, like my older half brother was already out of the company. Uh, he went over to work at Weld, and I from probably 2002 to till we sold, I pretty much ran all of the sales and marketing. Uh, pretty much ran most of the all the operations on that end of it for our wheel shop. So when I went to American Racing, they just basically all our employees, everybody was left intact, and then they moved us over there, and I was the brand manager for I was brand manager for the Boyd Coddington brand and the American Racing vintage line, which is the hot rod stuff, like torque thrust and all
Mhm.
that stuff. So that was kind of cool. I mean, being in charge of like two iconic brands in the industry and just seeing a lot of potential, right, for
Mhm.
growth. But then within a year, I realized, nah, this is not
So,
happening.
so when you were at American, how many torque thrusts went out the door a year? Do you think?
Well, everything was two-piece then. So there was 100,000 torque thrusts they built a year.
Wow.
And they would do roughly between like the salt flat special and the hopster. They didn't have a lot of two-piece wheels. They were only doing like a handful of forged machine stuff. That's what
Mhm.
was attractive for them of us because we were doing mostly all machined. We did have a decent cast line, but yeah, I mean, they probably sold another 20. They probably doing 130,000 two-piece wheels a year. And that's just in the vintage brand. I mean, American Racing was a
Yeah.
$150 million company when we were there.
Wow.
So it was kind of cool being in charge of all that stuff. I helped develop a lot of stuff and just across all brands over there. Um, met a great group of guys. And I learned a lot. Um, and I learned a lot like, you walk in and just shake your head and you realize, but you private equity firms, like for example, just like they bought American Racing for 40 million bucks with no due diligence at all. They hadn't even, I mean, it was just the bookkeeping wise on American Racing was a mess. But what the private equity firm does, they had $40 million of inventory, even though it was obsolete, discontinued stuff. It's all on the shelves. So these private equity firm, they go to their investors and they say, "Hey, we want to borrow money," and they borrow money against that inventory. They go buy other companies,
Mhm.
and it's like, they operate a little differently. I'm not a big fan of private. I mean, there's some good private equity firms, I'm sure, but for the most part, it's they weren't there to really, or, they tell you they want to organically grow the business, but they don't. They had to go
Yeah.
buy Wheel Pros, you know, and so they bought that was the joke is they took 200, Wheel Pros was doing 150 million, the American Race was doing 150 million. They bought $250 million companies and they made $150 million company. But then Wheel Pros, through other acquisitions, they did fairly well, but then they had their troubles, what, 2 years ago, you know?
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Wheel Pros was part of. Didn't they have the Hoonigan brand there too when that happened?
yeah, so they had Hoonigan, and then they changed the name of the company to Hoonigan. Like the corporate
Okay.
name now is Hoonigan, which whatever, I don't know. It was funny. There was one time when I was at they were when they were gonna merge Wheel Pros and American Racing, they wanted to come up with a new name. And I forget how much money they paid this guy. They paid this guy a ton of money to come up with a name. You know what? He came to the meeting. I wasn't in this meeting. I heard about the meeting after. He goes, "I got it. I got the name. Chrome Monsters. We're gonna call the business Chrome Monsters." And some of the old school wheel guys are like, how much did we?" They paid
And
the
they
guy.
paid this guy for that. I'm
They
in the
paid him.
wrong.
They probably paid him. They paid him like,
Probably about $100,000 to $200,000 is what they probably
"Hey,
paid that.
listen, in that
Yeah.
world, when you got guys driving Ferraris and Lamborghinis back in the day, these guys are just like, well, the guy's charging $30,000 to come up with a name. It's got to be worth it."
Hmm.
Huh, okay, sure. Chrome Monsters, buddy.
He did all of this research to find
Yeah,
out that this is what they want.
we know
Yeah.
a company that
Oh.
spent a few million on a logo change, and all the guy did was put some lines through some things
Oh yeah, no, dude.
and
Trust
color.
me.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
Trust
crazy.
me. They,
yeah.
I could just tell you story upon story about just, I mean,
I'm saying more power to the people getting paid, but man, drag me along on something like that.
oh yeah, yeah. They spent like to develop the first 30-inch wheel, which MHT actually beat us to the punch. We had 30-inch three-piece wheel. Just in tooling alone, they spent $50,000, you know? And it was just like they gave away more sets than they sold, you
Mhm.
know? So yeah, I don't know. That lasted for me, and then I was one of the last man standing because I was in the marketing department, and then they fired a bunch of people, and then that would have been, and then my dad passed away in 2008, and then I was kind of burnt out on the whole thing, really, but I didn't know what I wanted to do because my dad's gone, and I was like the last man standing. I mean, it was me and Steve Zieber, and Zieber was
I
there
can't believe
forever,
it
and then
was
Zieber's all, "Hey, dude."
2008. It doesn't seem like it's that long.
Oh yeah,
So
and then they.
before, let's go back and talk a little bit. We kind of skimmed over. Were you at the company when he was doing the TV show?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Talk
So
a little bit about the behind the scenes of American Hot Rod.
um, yeah, that was interesting times. I mean, I was on
Because
the wheel
I
side,
watched the Hot Rod guys. They complained about that show because it was drama, drama, drama.
but they still
But
watched it.
fast forward 10, 12 years later, the drama that was on, now we don't have hardly any much automotive TV show. And there for a
Yeah.
while, 10 years later, it got way crazy. And you go back and watch an early episode of American Hot Rod, it's like, oh, this is enjoyable to watch. It's just deadline stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that
You know?
was yeah, it was interesting times.
But I was
It
saying,
really
every hot rod guy that I know complained about it. They still never missed an episode.
Oh, for sure. And
Yeah.
and it did catapult my dad's name into the mainstream. And it's cool because even to this day, so that would have been from like 2003 going into 4 until 2000. They canceled the show in 2007. Um, but even to this day, I get guys in their 30s that are like, "Dude, I grew up on that show." Like
Mhm.
they got me into hot rodding, and
Yeah.
I think what put it into perspective for me, like, was Yahoo puts out every year, they put out the top 10 people that were searched on their engine that had passed away that year, and my dad was number 8. And
Wow.
like Bernie Mac died that year, George Carlin died that year, among other people, and I was kind of like, wow, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that I don't think, I mean, I do because I'm a nerd, as my wife says. The amount of people that got exposed because they watched American Hot Rod or they watched Jesse James's show, even what was his not the Motorcycle Mania, but then he did Monster Garage,
Monster, yeah. So you had
and Orange County Choppers, and even the first Fast and Furious movie, and that was all that same generation of a lot of people got exposed to this. I mean, our industry may not be as big as it is now if there wasn't that stuff on. That's what I get worried. Even I never liked the Gas Monkey show. I had buddies that were on my show and ended up being on his show, and they did well on there, and marketing things when that show ended. But if some kid flipped the channels that have never, his dad was a doctor and had never heard of a hot rod or a custom motorcycle, and he flipped on the Gas Monkey, and that's how he got exposed to it, I'm
Yeah.
totally okay with it doing its job that way. So that's what I worry about our future, that we don't have enough out there of people flipping the channels if you're not just flipping the right channels.
Well, the thing is, I think there's way more out there now. It's all YouTube. You
Yeah,
know,
and those,
I mean,
the new young generation, that's where they're on YouTube all the time.
there's a bunch of cool. I mean, like you guys
The
are in
Cletus
bike.
McFarland and the Vice Grip Garage guy, and yeah.
Yeah, it's like whatever your hobby is, there's some cool YouTube content being put out on,
Yeah.
out there. And back then, no, I mean, it was, you had Monster Garage first, American Choppers, and then it was American Hot Rod.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first few. And then, like I know Bud Brutzman did like the rides, the little short ones. But yeah, no, it was a trip. It was
I never
cool.
missed watching any of them. If we couldn't, we'd set the VCR. Remember the VCR?
Mhm.
We'd set them and record them and watch them later. Yeah.
Yeah, they it was fun. I went on a lot of trips with the film crew, and then when I was at American Racing, that's when the show was really going good, and you know being part of the brand and being part of American Racing, I was allowed to travel quite a bit, going to shows, and you know um, going to the unveiling of the Hershey Cadillac, Elvis Cadillac in New York. I went to go see the Belvedere, Miss Belvedere, the Tulsa, Oklahoma, where they pulled it out of the vault. Um, among other, Camp Pendleton, we did that with the Ghetto Princess and the motorcycle, and yeah, it was cool. It was really cool.
Is that when you met Mikey Curtis? Did you know him before? Or
Yeah,
he showed
Mike
yeah.
actually, Mike graduated high school, went right to California to go work for my dad, and he was right there a few months before the Boyd's Wheels collapsed. And then Mike just kind of was like here in California, and he was willing to learn. And my dad just kind of like said, "Hey, you want to learn how to do machining? You want to?" And Mike was game to do it all. That's how he learned. That's how Mike learned all that stuff.
And now jumping out of sequence, you guys are just a couple doors down from each other.
He's
with
like
your
three
shop.
doors. He's 3 doors down. He does a lot of machining for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
He uses my conventional lathe every day. So yeah.
Awesome. So then where did you go? We started, then we kind of jumped back to the TV show.
No, then I was at Wheel Pros in 2008. The merger happened, and I went there, and I was at Wheel Pros because at American Racing we bought Weld Racing in 2000, and man, into 2006 we bought no, hold on. Yeah, into 2006 we bought Weld Racing, and their headquarters were in Kansas City. So we ended up
and that's
moving.
where your half brother was, right?
Yeah. So, but he was gone by that point.
Okay.
He was gone from Weld at that point, and then we we had our two-piece line over there. So shoot, for probably 6 7 months, I was in Kansas City for probably at least a week, a month, because we moved um, everything from California to there, and they operated there. And then I was in once the Wheel Pros thing happened. They hit me up and said, "Hey, do you want to be in charge of moving it all back?" So we moved it all the two piece. I brought back one of our old employees, and we moved it from Kansas City back to Cerritos, California. in a little warehouse there, a Wheel Pros warehouse in Cerritos. And then I left Wheel Pros in 2009. And then I got into business. We were selling the rim shells. Got into business with my older half brother. That lasted 18 months. Then, he got rid of me, and then I was trying to figure out what I was doing. And a few months later, he shut the doors on his business. And then I just said, screw it. I'm in 2011. I just, I revived the Hot Rods by Boyd thing, because I had the trademark. I had the trademark for Hot Rods by Boyd for apparel, and I was kind of messing with that. But then I just was like, you know what? I just was kind of just like motivated and pissed off at the same time. So I just said, I'm just going to do my own thing, and here I am. It's 20, what is it,
And you
2025?
keep it more manageable.
Yeah.
I've been to your place. You don't have 300 employees, and you have no desire to have 300 employees.
Nope. 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 No, I mean, I'm always looking at ways to grow my business, but I like, you know, it's like I'm the main guy selling the wheels. I'm talking to customers, and I got a lot of customers that are now good friends of mine, and got great relationships with everybody.
And
And
you come up with awesome styles, new stuff. Like you said, you've been doing all the new finishes, the Cerakotes, along with the polished and the brushed.
yeah, I
The
just like
picture,
to.
your background picture shows, but you've also re-released in modern sizes
Yeah.
with the fat lip, the old popular styles you were doing. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is, and so if you look at these wheels, originally back in the day, this soft lip rim shell that's on there, that didn't come out. That didn't come out until like 2000. Everything else was standard step lip. So, with the resurgence of all the OBS stuff, I mean, I've been doing all these soft lip rims. That's most of the wheels I do. I don't do much standard lip stuff. So I started recreating all the old designs in larger sizes. That's my buddy's truck. He's got 18-inch staggered setup, and then I sold this truck earlier this year. That's got a set of Deuce Ninjas on it, 20-inch. So, and everybody's making. I mean, it's kind of crazy because back then it was just very simple on the lowering. No one ever. I don't even know if they even had any brake kits back in the day, like upgraded brake kits.
Yeah.
And it's like now, I mean, we deal with Alden coilovers. You got Stone Fab making narrowed arms for the front. I mean, everybody's got a brake kit for this thing now.
Yeah, I got Woolwitz going on mine. I got a QA1 autocross torque arm suspension underneath mine.
Oh
I mean,
yeah, no.
I mean, there's 3 companies making full chassis swap chassis for them now.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite wheel designs ever, though. That one on that champagne colored truck, that twisted spoke with the, what do you call that? I call it a tracer. Is that what the line is? Is that what you call it?
I don't know what you call it. Connecting,
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a circle, a ring.
It's a circle. It's really, I thought it was, yeah. I'm going to keep calling it a tracer. That's what I'm going to call it.
Yeah. That's the Avenger wheel. But yeah, I mean, we're willing to do all the old designs if, people want them, So.
And then you've also yourself got into OBS trucks, and you got back. It was the first ever chopped OBS that Hot Rods by Boyd did, right? The charcoal and raspberry one.
Yep.
And did I just see online? Did you just recently sell that?
I did. So I got that truck back in 2022, right at Super Bowl time. We went out and it just kind of fell in my lap, and I jumped on it.
And it looked, I've seen it a couple times at Grand Nationals. I've seen it you had it there the first time we went to Dino's. And that thing, whoever had that kept it like immaculate, like it barely had a rock chip on it. I mean, it looked like it's fresh.
Yeah, and I wasn't just saying it because it was my truck, but probably one of the more well-preserved Boyd builds out there. And then I had it. One of my customers that, I mean, I kept it a secret for a couple weeks before I actually physically had it, and then I announced it on social media, and within an hour, my phone was ringing. I had 2 guys, close friends. They made me good offers on the truck, and I was like, guys, I just got the truck. Because part of, like we do the videos, like documenting this stuff and using it as a marketing tool, and I wanted to kind of show it around, which we did. We did a couple videos on it, got it on Jay Leno's garage, and then I don't know, the same guy that made me the offer, he goes, he called me before Dino's last year, and he says, "Hey," because when I told him I wouldn't sell it, he went and bought an original OBS, like the 6,000 mile truck that had some body mods on it, wasn't chopped, and he bought that instead. And then he tried to mimic he actually has it for sale right now.
What's that? It's Rod something, right?
Rod Nealon, yeah,
Yeah, it's a purple and silver one. He
yeah.
shaved the
So
markers.
he basically it was all purple. Then he had Mark Oja do the stripes, and they basically mimicked my truck, but it wasn't chopped. So then after Dino's, he calls me and says, "Hey, I want to make a deal." He wanted to do a trade, and I was like, "No, I'm not doing a trade." So long story short, I got hit up by. I told him he'd have first dibs on it, right? And then this year I was just kind of I was like, it's about time for it to go. So I hit him up and I said, "Hey, we struck a deal, and yeah, 2 weeks ago I delivered it to him
Oh, cool. And where's he?
up north in Sonoma."
Oh, okay. Yeah, he used to do like stock car racer, ARCA or something like that too, didn't he? Wasn't he?
He's got a couple like stock car NASCAR.
And he's got I think it's the same guy. He's got a badass first gen Camaro that was built out here in Alabama, right?
Dude, that thing's pretty rad. I saw it in person.
Yeah.
But to talk about the paint job. So we dropped it off. We drove up there. We did a turnaround trip. We left at 5 a.m, and it was like he's like 7.5, 8 hours up there. And we pulled it in his driveway, and he was standing like 50 feet from it, and he goes, "Man, that paint looks brand new." And I go, "Yeah, it's still a nice truck, And so, yeah, he's stoked on it,
And the interior still looks good, like
everything. The only thing it needed
to put Tweed in mine, and I'm like, no, because once Tweed gets dirty, because I'm gonna like daily mine, you can never get that gunny sack material clean again once they get dirty.
Yeah, no. And the only thing wrong with it, and it's not a big deal, is the headliner starting to sag. So big, But other than that truck was still only had 11,000 miles on it.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we took it out to Radwood. Have you been to any of the Radwood shows?
No, I know what they are though. Yeah, it's all like 80s stuff, right?
80s, 90s themed. All every year, make and model during the 80s and 90s, and we won best domestic with it at the San Pedro show last year.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, it was cool. So yeah, it was time for it to go. So, glad we had our time with it.
Yeah. What do you got for OBSs now?
I have an OBS dually, a 91.
Okay.
I'll have it out at Dino's.
That way you just debuted a new wheel on social media last couple days?
I did. Yeah. And you know what? I might, I've been doing dually wheels, and I'm going to be putting a set on there. I might be towing stuff up there. So I might leave it because it's original Trader's truck.
Oh, okay.
I saw this thing on Facebook Marketplace. It had like 3 crappy pictures, and I was like, you know what? I need to get an OBS dually to help market the wheels. So I saw it on Facebook Marketplace up in Burbank. I drove up there, and it was super clean. And I opened the door, and I saw the Trader's door seal plates. And I asked the guy, because he got it from his like childhood friend that went and got a new truck, and he gave it to him. He said, "Here, you can have it." And I said, "Hey, who built this truck?" And he goes, "I don't know, but I got the receipts at home. I'll send it to you." And I was like, okay. He was a little high priced on it. But then when I got home, he texted me the Trader's receipt. And I go, yeah. Because, I'm good friends with Tim Sasamian. He's reviving the Trader stuff now. And I was like, man, I could tell a story with this truck, and it's cool. Because it's like, it's what you would, like, if you would have bought a dually at a dealership and had Traders do it, it's exactly everything. It had Borla exhaust.
And we just kind of glassed over the OBS, but even Boyd was doing all these for like GMC Truck Center. Like the OBSs, when they come out, I mean, a lot of people built their business, especially in Southern California, just doing OBS trucks, like hammering them, bumper cover.
Yeah. I mean,
just putting them out.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, the OBS thing was really what helped the wheel shop take off too. And it was like, everybody had a sport truck back in the day.
And dealerships were having it done. You could buy this already lowered wheel and finance everything from the dealership.
That's exactly. So the receipt I have is kind of like the paper going back and forth between the dealership and Traders. And in 91, it was like a $7,000 package. Smooth bumper, roll pan, had the Alcoas on it. It's solid camper shell with the full carpet kit and foam pad in the back, tow package, Borla exhaust. You know, little bit.
Miles does it have on it?
It's got 180 on it.
Yeah. So if
But
people
it's
don't
clean.
know this, I don't know how to say his last name right.
Sasamian.
He was Traders, which was all the mail order
Yeah,
stuff.
Trader Tim.
And now he's bringing the trucks back. He has a ratchet strap company. His company does all the merch for SEMA.
Yeah,
he's the company that does all the branding and that, and then a bunch of other stuff too. But
yeah, he's got like
you go buy your stuff.
They do. I think they do 40 events a year now,
Yeah.
and he's got like this mobile diesel pusher looking thing where they flip up the sides, and it's like he just rebrands it for like he'll do like the Mint 400, and he'll go out to like I forget whatever the series is now. Like they do Crandon and Parker and all those off-road races because that's kind of his passion is like off-road stuff, you know.
Oh, okay. Now it's all cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And I know him when I hear his voice because I've listened to the podcast that you've had him on.
Yeah.
Like I'll walk through SEMA, I'll hear him talking. I was like, "Oh, Trader Tim," and he don't know who I am or nothing. He's like, "All right," But
yeah,
he said a lot. He's got a very distinct voice when you hear it. So
yeah, he's turned that. Yeah, he got the licensing deal a few years back with SEMA, and I think started out with like just like 2 little stores, and I think now they got like 7 or 8 around SEMA.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and they got to do good stuff too. Good souvenir stuff, good shirts, good varieties. They kill it. They really do a good job.
Yeah.
So that's cool. You got one of those early Trader trucks.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's one of those things too. I don't want to do too much to it because it's pretty cool truck. I mean, it's got a couple paint things. It's got the clears peeling off the camper shell. And I'm going to fix all that before I go to Dino's, but I'm just going to take the Dino's as is, because it's cool little Survivor dually.
Yeah. Very cool. So as the son of Boyd, you never had like a Deuce Roadster for yourself, right?
No, I never did. I don't know, because I had access to all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my dad would have let me drive whatever I wanted, and it's kind of like, okay,
Yeah. Why should I spend my money on something I can just drive that?
I mean, him and my brother Greg did build some cool stuff together. But yeah, no,
I remember Greg built, it was it was patina. It wasn't painted. It wasn't a son of Boyd car, but it was some weird little traditional-ish. Some people would call it a rat rod. I don't like to call it that. Bias ply. It was in Rodder's Journal, right?
Yeah. It was in Rodder's Journal with next to the Illuma truck.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a little track T that he built with Anthony Castaneda, and the thing was pretty wild.
Yeah, it was very cool.
Little tiny little thing.
Yeah. So where do you see the wheel company going from here? Just keep doing the designs, and you're always good with new designs, and the Cerakote stuff is it just adds a whole nother texture, volume to the designs. Of
and the Cerakote. I mean,
and your wheels are on Good Guys Truck of the Year late, right? You got your wheels on the Scott's Hot Rods truck.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We are on. Well, we're on it. Scott's has been very supportive of us over the years. I get along really good with those guys. So we're on the bump side with our HRX Sub-Zeros. And what happened was that project took a long time. That's what they call it, time capsule, because I think it was a 9-year build. And then we originally we worked with, because I work a lot with Eric Brockmeyer. Scott's works a lot with Eric Brockmeyer. So we designed, Eric came up with this variation that was like a one-off wheel, the only one we did. And then I was excited about my new Sub-Zero wheel. So a year and a half ago at Justin's open house, we just shipped the first set and it went on his Suburban. And the owner saw that wheel at the open house and he hit me up. He's like, "Hey, I need to put those wheels on the bump side." So we swapped those out, and then he just won with the OBS at Triple Crown.
Oh yeah.
That has a set of our HR23s on it. So
that bump side.
I mean, I haven't added them up, but you know, between Boyd's Wheels and myself, we've been on quite a few different award-winning trucks.
Yeah, that bump side truck, and this is a compliment to both Justin and Scott and the Scott's brand over there. That to me is a truck that I could have seen your dad build with
Oh,
all the
nice. It's
pieces,
nice.
the headlight. I mean,
It's nice.
Yeah, that thing
It's I mean, just I've watched that thing get built over the years, and it's just phenomenal.
Yeah,
Just everything about that truck.
yeah. Years ago, how many years ago? Carrie was a Midwest sales rep for Scott's.
Nice.
When they were still in California,
Probably
when we were
20.
we were still in Illinois, had a dedicated phone line. She answered calls and did orders.
Yeah, that's right. You did mention that. Yeah, that's cool.
He worked like a couple of years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
They leave their truck and trailer at our place when they're doing all the Midwest shows. We take their
Big
truck
Tone.
driver, Big Tone, out, and he was a LA guy, like from kind of the ghetto, and him coming out to farm country Illinois, he'd get this little mini bike out, drive down the road and see my dad and the cows. Like it opened he's like, I have no idea what's going on out here. And he got to like ride in my dad's tractor and all
You
that.
can take the guy out of LA, but you can't take LA out of the guy.
Yeah. I remember he found somebody's campsite in the middle of a timber. Like, you don't trespass out where we were originally from. And he went out there and he came back with this hatchet. It was like a hammer with a little hatchet, like somebody just, cutting up firewood. He goes, dude, you have an axe murderer living in the timber down that dead dirt road. Like, everybody that went down there had to come right by our house.
Oh,
like,
man.
It took the way for them to cut up their firewood. And
oh, yeah.
He never took it back. And for years, when we had our silver dually, that was in our truck. We had that little hatchet in that truck, allegedly.
So whoever's hatchet
That's funny.
Yeah. He thought there was an axe murderer that lived there. I still remember this was LA stuff that we took him to the totally off subject, but that's what I do. There was this, what did you call that? They made rusks, which is a Swedish, like,
it's a bakery.
Baked bread that people dip in their coffee. And it was a bakery, and they made this stuff and sold it to all the grocery stores in the area. But you could go in, because they would come in at like 3 a.m, do the bakery, and then they would leave by like 8 o'clock in the morning. But you could go anytime during the day, write an order, put it on the slip, and then
self-serve.
It was
so
self-serve
because
they basically cook stuff and have leftovers.
Yeah.
Go in and get cinnamon rolls and bread and all this stuff. And it was an honor system, and you just leave the money in a box on the counter. And Big Tone was like, oh man, this wouldn't happen in LA. They'd steal the stoves, the copper pipe.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that place was there as long as I can remember it.
That's crazy.
And the family finally went out, none of the next generation wanted it. But yeah, it was all like they would do that and never even talk to somebody on the phone, leave a piece of paper. And it's like, oh, for my high school graduation party, I need all these breads and all this stuff or whatever. And it would just magically appear. And they'd show up and leave the money in the box. And they'd pick up, it was labeled, here's for the Strange graduation party. I mean, where else could that happen? Mm-hmm. And Big Tone, that just blew his mind that
yeah.
was. Yeah.
I wish we lived in that type of world around here.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I don't think that's probably why it's not in business anymore. But yeah, even the small towns have changed anymore. So.
Big Tone.
We went mostly through my questions, my notes. I never put questions, but I had so many things that we wanted to touch on here.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Out of all of the cars that came out of your dad's shop, which one was your favorite?
I don't know.
You can say 2. Or
2? I don't know. I mean, like I said, Shazoom holds a spot for me. I don't know if I can pick 2. I really, because there's so many. Because you watch them being built, and there's little stories about each one, and I mean, Cadzilla's up there.
So, is there any that stick out to you of like, I would never want to own that car? I know I have some that have come out of our shop that I don't ever want to see again.
Yeah, it's usually because the customers. If it was a bad customer, I hate that car forever. It's nothing against that car, but if that guy was an asshole that owned whatever car, I hate that car no matter where I've seen it now. I mean, it could be somebody else's car, and I still don't like that car.
Yeah, I don't know. There's none that I hate. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I like a ton of them. You know, I
See,
mean,
that's
there's
what
just,
we were talking about. The next generation got involved in hot rodding by watching American Hot Rod. But then that's the sad part. If that's all they ever looked at what came out of Hot Rods by Boyd, they didn't know the generation of Cadzilla and the Luma Coupe and all of that stuff. And there was some of them cars I didn't think got enough. What was the first couple that Chip designed? Of course, the Boydsters, but it was a full fendered maroon thing with another motor in the back. It was a full fendered, and it was like, it was on the cover of Auto Week. Like they did the feature. Auto Week.
oh yeah, that was the
Star, wasn't it?
God, I can't think of the name.
Well, there was a
It was red.
fenderless.
It was, well, no.
There was another fenderless one about that same time that was kind of 37 inspired with a motor in the back. I think that might have won an Amber.
That was the Roadstar with the North Star motor in the back.
Roadstar. And I was thinking that other thing had a star.
Yeah, the other one, I can't think of the name right now. It had I think it had a Lexus motor in it, maybe.
Okay.
It was Chip designed it. It was kind of a funky looking. It had the, it was red.
Yeah.
And it was on. Yeah, I can't think of the name.
Yeah, that thing was.
I mean, there was some funky stuff, like I don't know, like the purple Ford Lightning was kind of funky.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
Still cool though. I got that saved in one of my truck files on my phone because it's like I can't even find like a good picture. It was like in the background of something, and there was like maybe another OBS, and it was like taking a picture of some street rod or Shazoom and primer outside of that purple truck was behind it, and it was like, where is it? Like that thing. I don't remember seeing that featured in a magazine. Did it go to like SEMA?
I think it did make the cover of Sport Truck.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Oh my God, there was a magazine cover and you don't remember it?
She gets mad about my magazine.
I might have it somewhere here. I think I have it. But yeah, I've talked to like Keith and Dwayne about doing like a little podcast thing where we go, what's in the background? Because there's so many of these.
Yeah.
There's like so many pictures of like whatever's Cadzilla being built, and then it's like, but people always, whenever they comment, hey, what's that in the background?
Who's the guys that did the YouTube? There's a YouTube video, if you search Boyd Coddington, that it's all still shots that they edited and put together. It's all
so that was Carl and Andy, the two Swedes. I forget which one took the pictures, but back then, and Keith Russell's got boxes and boxes and boxes of just photographs, because back then they didn't have digital cameras, but everybody had a camera, and they, because they're just taking picture of their work, and they get a couple reels of film, go drop it off at the developer, which kids these days have no clue, like when you're talking when you say that.
Oh, they actually do. That's starting to come back.
It is starting to come back.
That is a huge
it's I know
that they sell film again.
Like
that's kind of cool.
The biggest thing all summer long was she would have a disposable camera with her.
21-year-old BMX girl. She has disposable with her all the time.
She loves it.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Polaroid made a little comeback too.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
But yeah, that video is really cool. I watch it and I pause it.
It's a good video. There's a lot, and there's a lot of obscure Boyd stuff on there, like stuff that never made it to the magazines.
And I like looking at the stuff, the equipment that they had back then, and then all of a sudden, this picture, there's a CNC that has appeared back there or something, and like what was the shop that was, the walls were all striped? They were like red and gray and white. What shop?
That was a lot of the shops. That would have been mostly the hot rod shop.
Okay.
That started with the checkered floors, and the striped walls would have been, especially when we moved over to Ashdale off Cerritos and Stanton to that building.
Okay.
That was kind of like, my dad had.
When you came back and you built Led Zephyr, was that the old Robbie Gordon off-road shop?
Yep.
That is now, and then now it's back to Robbie Gordon's shop, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad was there for a couple years, but then they decided in 2001 to merge the wheel shop and the hot rod shop together. So
I
that's
remember when that issue came out, they had a Boydster on wasn't really a chassis table, but it was kind of built, and it was on the cover of Super Rod. And I remember I just stared at those pictures because it was a roll around cart that was kind of made to be like a chassis table, and it all had like slightly different print diamond plate on the sides.
okay.
Like,
Yeah.
and I want to build something like that for my shop. I didn't have room. I had 3,000 square feet, and it was like I couldn't even afford the aluminum trim plate that was on the side of that thing. But I thought that was just like the coolest. Like, man, his shop is just as cool as the cars that he built. And I was just like, I was always blown away by that. And it's like I've always been a shop. Look how people, and I was always impressed how Kyle Tucker at Detroit Speed organized his jack stands. Even, I mean, painted them all the same. They all had to sit on the rack facing the same way, and it's like you're clocking all the bolts.
Oh yeah, no, my
jack stands at the end of the night.
I mean, my dad had a cleaning crew of like 2 guys that all they did was just clean,
Yeah.
and it was yeah.
And like in the background, like Fat Jack pictures, he's always got those shelves, and Johnny's done the same thing that are made out of like 1-inch square tubing. That's how they made their shelves, and it's like, oh, they didn't even buy stuff; they just built their own shit. So
just made it. Yeah, you know, one of the obscure things that a lot of people don't know about, they're still operating today. When my dad was building the business back, he got a contract to build, I think it was 5 buses.
Dude, I just mentioned this the other day. That guy that brought a vet by to look by, and he went on a cruise, and he goes, "Oh, I've always wanted to go." He's getting ready to go on a cruise. I said, "I've always wanted to do that Alaskan one." He goes, "I did." And he got off in Skagway.
Skagway, they still run them.
Ride the vintage buses, and he's like, "There's no buses there." Like the guy's a little off though. So
no, they still run them out of Skagway, Alaska. They're like yellow and maroon, you know, kind of like I don't know what year. I'm trying to think. They're like based off like the front ends were kind of like 20s, you know, hot rod like looking old buses, and yeah, they built 5 of those things in the shop, chassis and everything.
And that was one of the first big projects when he went back on his own after all that, right?
Yeah, he got this contract with these people, and I remember going buses because that's when he hired Dwayne back, you know, and he's like, "Hey, Dwayne, we're building buses," and he's like, "Buses? What are you building buses?" But it's cool. People will still hit me up because when they go to Skagway, Alaska, they go, they see the buses there. They're still operating. So if you Google,
Go ahead.
now I'm saying if you Google, go Google Boyd Coddington Skagway buses, they'll pull up.
So that was where I think your dad excelled back then, was the salesman to find those jobs and all these other customers to like, oh, we're going to shake up the world and we're going to build a smoothie all billet mobile, of finding the right, that's something I ain't figured out in 32 years, that you find the right client that loves what you do and will let you create a big project like that. That's the hardest part.
I've said it many times. If it wasn't for like, you know, the Vern Luces of the world, the Jamie Musselmans, you know, these guys, the Billy Gibbons and stuff, this stuff would never happen, you know,
right?
Because it takes money, and it takes someone else to fund the project, you know, and it lets you see your vision through, you know. Behind every build, there's a customer behind it, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like you know
that was one thing he always excelled at. Like now we have, you know, Chip's still doing that, and Troy at Rad Rides, they're all finding those right clients that can help change the industry.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at the George Poteets, right? The Ron Pratts, you know, these guys just kind of they fund these projects and they let people see their vision through, you know.
Unfortunately, our industry is losing a lot of those guys.
They're not getting any younger, guy. I noticed it too. I'm like, but you know what though? It's shifting. Like, you know, it's the good guy shows. I love good guy shows, but that demographic is kind of, you know, they're passing away.
The other side of the demographic at the good guy shows, because I'm at the autocross on the microphone. So that's bringing in another younger generation. They don't want to sit in their satin jackets and their color matched lawn chairs to their car. They want to get out and drive them and autocross them. And they, you know, there's some older guys, there's younger guys, there's father and sons and daughters, and that it brings in a whole different crowd. And some people go to the good guy shows and never go over to the autocross. They think it's a circus sideshow, but I mean, we've got 7 classes that we run because it is.
Yeah, no, it's rad. I always when I can break away from the booth, I usually go watch that stuff, and that's why I like going to these shows and as a spectator, if you will, right? Not have a booth and just go walk around and talk to everybody. But I'm telling you, the truck scene's huge right now. I mean, have you been to Dino's? You've been, oh yeah, we've
been to Dino's once the year. I think the first year you had the chop truck there, and we're not going to make it again this year.
I mean, we're going
between SEMA and I go out for Scottsdale. They fly me out to do announcing, so it's hard for us to get away.
Yeah, it'll be a whole week for you.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
But that's on a different level. That's just like, it's just the truck scene, talking about the younger generation, guys in their 20s and 30s and stuff that,
And
trucks.
that's what I don't think enough people. I talk about this a lot. Dino's a great guy. We did a build in his garage one time, surprise for a buddy. And I don't think Dino gets enough credit for what he does because one, he brings the trucks. He's a real deal truck guy. He's a cool cat, and he's a cat lover like we are. But it's free to get in for spectators. Yep. And you see all the young families, the baby strollers, and all of that getting those next generation, their next. Oh, what is this? I'm going to Dad with the hot rod show because it's not $40 a person to get through the gate. We can bring the whole family. We can bring the neighbor kids too. And that's Dino's lighting a spark in the industry. And thanks for him for doing that. And he doesn't get, he kind of does it for fun. I know you have to charge because people run the businesses and the insurances and all that stuff, but he does good on vendor spots and cars. But the free spectator thing is just,
that's huge. Yeah, we'll have a booth out there.
Because then they haven't spent the money, so then they can buy a T-shirt from you, even if they can't afford certain deals.
Listen, the first year I had the OBS, the chop truck there, I did a shirt specifically with that on there. I sold 100 shirts in the first day. I haven't sold 100 shirts at all the good guy shows I've been doing the last 10 years. To be honest with you, it's just like because people aren't, good guy shows. They're good shows, but it costs money to get in. And I mean, take a family of 4 there, have lunch, everything. You're going to be $200 into that deal. You could go.
That was one thing I noticed at Dino's. There has to be 50 stands selling T-shirts. Like everybody's got an.
Oh yeah.
PS Mafia, C10.
They had like 200
and all that. Yeah.
They had like 220 vendors or something last year.
Yeah.
And it's cool because I like the 2-day show setup as a vendor. You're in there on, because from here I'm in there setting up by noon on Thursday. The show's pretty long on Friday, but then by 3:00 on Saturday, we're tearing down.
Yeah,
and we're
that was like the first year we went. We almost missed it because we flew in on Friday, and then we're like, "Oh, we'll get up and go to the show at 10:00." Well, then you sat in traffic for a while.
Yeah.
So by the time we got there, we're like, "Show's over in like 2 hours."
Yeah.
We flew all the way out here for 2 hours because we didn't pay attention to the hours.
Yeah. No, it's a good show. I like it.
Yeah, very cool. So you're
okay.
That's kind of your question. Yep. He's kind of probably answered one already.
You might have already answered one of my questions, but what is your favorite show that you like to go to? And what is one show that you've never been to that's on your bucket list?
Dino's is probably one of my favorites. Triple Crown. I haven't been yet. So, yeah. We went to, let's see, what did I go to this year? I went to, I spent 2 weeks on the road. We took Pat's truck we took it to Justin's open house, and then we left it there, and then we flew back and we went to the F100 Grand National Show in Pigeon Forge. That was a cool show.
I've never been over to that. I know a lot of people that go. That was the same weekend as Good Guys Nashville.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because
we were some vendors that chose to go to the F100, like Johnson's Hot Rod Shops. They chose to try F100 show, just mixing up their crowd. Can't go to the same shows there, then people get stagnant.
And that was the thing. With Pat's truck being a Ford truck, he really wanted to go to. We were going to go to Nashville. We had planned to drive out there, and then Justin was like, "I go, hey, you're going to be set up at Nashville Good Guys." He goes, "No, we're going to the F100 show."
Yeah.
So, and I'm glad we did. It was a cool show. It was like 1,500 Ford trucks and, cool.
Where was that at? Was it at the convention center?
Yeah, at Pigeon Forge, the convention center at Pigeon Forge.
Yep. Yeah, there's Rod Run there that we took her car to once. And well, they're not doing the slammed event there anymore. The little slam kids.
I heard about that. What a mess.
Crazy.
Nuts, and kicked them out of town and closed the event a day early and banned them from coming back.
Yeah, it's a mess.
Yeah, those takeover kids aren't. We need to. You see a takeover. I probably don't. I don't really censor myself that well. When you go to a Cars and Coffee and you see this guy and maybe this, it's never the tuner kids that I see. It's always like the Mustang kids. and for some stupid reason, they're sitting there just hitting the rev limiter. What are you doing?
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
now we know that their mom took Tylenol when she was pregnant.
Right.
Now, yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, and you know what? It just takes a few bad apples to ruin a show, but that seemed like there was a lot of bad apples at that one.
Which I
But
seen online too. There's some show out in California, cars and helicopter thing. That same thing happened. The street takeover guys got in, and cops and riot squad and everything came to shut it down.
well, they canceled the show this year because that helicopter crashed. I don't know if you saw that footage. That was crazy. Because they had another like rods and rotors show, similar concept. They had that in April at Huntington Beach, and it was cool. It was small, but what they do is on the Friday they fly all the helicopters in and land the helicopters and put them in spots, and then on Saturday it was just a 1 day show, but it was a good show, free to the public. Smaller show, but it was cool. But then
Isn't
this
that
one,
show that one in the spring? Isn't that Lorenzini guy involved in that? That's got that orange roadster that VZ Brothers just finished. I was
don't know if
thinking he was like that's what he did for a living, was something with helicopters and
no,
no, that show on or something.
Bob Bowder's son Brad, he has high performance helicopters.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I don't think he was there at that one, but yeah, no, he's been doing the helicopter thing. They do like King of the Hammers. They'll run like air rescue, like pulling vehicles out that are stuck in the rocks and stuff like that.
He goes out to King of Hammers and works with Optima at that.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you like your OBS trucks? If you could build any hot rod, have you ever thought about, oh, I want to build a Deuce Roadster or something? You know, your guy down the road, he needs to get that Model A touring thing that he's done half the billet stuff, because I want to build a car like that so bad, and like it's on his t-shirt. So do you have anything that you would like to build something like that yourself, or are you just going to stick to the OBSs?
Yeah, I don't know. I've thought about it. I don't know. I just, yeah, I mean, when the opportunity presents itself, I mean, I'll probably, there's a couple, you know, I mean, Eric Brockmeyer was, you know, like the head designer for my dad for the last few years of his life, and he's got a whole archive of stuff that never got built, you know, and there's some cool stuff in there. So maybe we can find the right person that wants to, you know, fund the project, and we'll just kind of get all the players together, you know, and, you know, do that.
And then the real question is, are you still riding bicycles all the time?
Oh, I just did a 30-mile ride. I crammed it in before for the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we do a fall trip up to Kernville with the guys, and we just did that. And there's a few epic trails out there in the Sequoia forest.
You ride mostly mountain bike stuff, right? Or is it
I do. No, I mean, I do everything, but it was a mountain bike trip this last weekend, but today I rode my gravel bike down to the beach. Because like a mile from,
we're BMX people. We know what a mountain bike is. Explain to me, and I see people were doing. What is the difference? What is a gravel bike?
So a gravel bike, very simply, is a road bike with wider tires. Like where most road bikes will have, you know, 28 to 32 millimeter tires, smooth tires. You know, most gravel bikes are rigid, it's like a road bike with just beefier tires, you know, maybe even
I
up
didn't
to,
know if they had suspension or nothing on the gravel bikes.
so,
But
yeah, I actually just
gravel series and all that stuff too.
Oh yeah, and actually one of the grand finale of the biggest gravel races in Bentonville, Arkansas this weekend. So like a 200-kilometer race, but
There's so many trails around. We don't have mountain bikes yet. We're still BMX people. I want a mountain bike, and the story I heard was the Walmart family that are from Bentonville. One of their grandkids or great grandkids got into mountain bikes, so they built the trails like just through the timbers, and like the U.S. mountain bike team lives there. We've got BMX kids that we know that from there that go to school with Lily. And have you ever rode through Bentonville before?
Yeah, I went twice last year, and I'm planning on going here probably in the next few months.
Beautiful area too.
What's that? Oh yeah, dude, Northwest Arkansas is beautiful. But yeah, they're self-proclaimed mountain bike capital of the world, but a lot of people will be like, there's no mountains there. But yeah, so like the grandsons, the Walton, there's two brothers, they put like $100 million of their own money into Bentonville, and it's just like there's you're going down a sidewalk and there's a jump line off to the right. Right. And then you go, there's trails connecting every part of it. There's like over 200 miles of trails there. And I did some exploring there, and it's fun. It's a cool area. And then the town north is called Bella Vista. There's a whole network of trails up there, and now they're going to be putting more money in that area. And it's just, I mean, we got a lot of mountain biking here. I mean, a mile from the shop, like what I rode today, a mile from the shop, there's what's the Santa Ana River Trail. It goes all the way up it goes all the way actually up into the mountains. And then, from the shop down to Huntington Beach, it's, I think it's 14 miles one way, but it's like a mile to the riverbed, and then you don't have to worry about cars and just go straight down. You can go all the way into Corona. And then, 2 years ago, we did it was like a 100 mile ride. We took mountain bikes and we did the mountain bike portion up at because Santa Ana River, it starts up by our area called Big Bear in the San Bernardino Mountains. And so we did the mountain bike section, then we navigated the whole path all the way down to the beach. So yeah, that's my hobby. Oh, hey, there you go. There's a cat.
Yeah, that's Axel. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, no. So that's my passion is really just biking, really.
Yeah.
So
we're trying to get back to it. A year and a half ago, Carrie hurt herself racing and 4 pelvic fractures, and she finally raced again Labor Day weekend for her first time out back on the bike. Got seconds all weekend, stayed
nice
down, and so everything healed up good. So yeah, that was a pretty gnarly. But I've been announcing some BMX stuff for Flow Racing and getting paid to do some BMX coverage with an Olympic gold medalist. So that's the coolest thing. Getting paid to be around bicycle stuff is the coolest stuff. Because like people tell me, it's like, oh man, you got the dream job. You got a hot rod shop. And I was like, well, it wasn't my dream job. Well, what was your dream job? Bicycle shop. Back in the heyday of BMX and everything, and mountain bikes. And it's like, I still go to the little one over in Columbia that's got mountain bikes and road bikes. And it's like, this is cool. The little repair stands and all that stuff. But like everything's not like it used to be. The bicycle shop industry isn't nothing like it used to be. Yeah.
No, it's different because with all the e-bike stuff, and I mean, it's still pretty big. I go out to the Sea Otter Classic every year in Monterey at the Laguna Seca Raceway. That's pretty fun.
But when I was in the 80s, like the bike shop where my BMX stuff come from, they had 2 levels. They had an upper and then the basement. And the upper was like road bikes, mountain bikes were starting, exercise bikes. Well, the basement was like the biggest wet dream for BMX guys ever. That was full of BMX stuff. Was the whole basement. And I still have my bike that was bought at Christmas. And Rick Molinterno worked there, that owns Standard Bikes now, as a high school kid, and it's like. But that was the 80s when BMX was at its total peak,
Yeah, no, it's just kind of, I got into biking, but just in the last few years, there's a lot of people that are car guys that I've come across that are bike guys. And there's people that, one of my good friends, he does like the dropper post. He runs North America for KS Suspension. He helped me build this last gravel bike that I did. And he work at Boyd's Wheels for us. And yeah, so there's a lot of people that I know that in the industry.
Yeah, so. Who's the one guy? I haven't seen him on Instagram for a while. He built an awesome truck, and then he restored like a historic custom for when he was growing up. He was the traveling mountain bike team mechanic for GT bicycles.
Wow. And yeah, well, the guy that I mentioned, Rick, he actually worked at GT for a while. That's where I got my first mountain bike back in the 90s, was from him. And yeah, no, and then like my buddy Casey Scranton, his kids racing BMX.
Yeah.
And he's painted a couple frames for me. That's what he was doing intake and exhaust, but now he's turned a whole business into just, painting BMX frames and helmets.
All the Rockstar branded helmets.
Yeah, he does. That's killer.
Yeah,
he painted one of I had a Fox helmet he painted for me.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's a good dude. I know I'll see him at SEMA, but I always go visit with him at the Grands. I know where their team pit is and who the kid rides for me.
It's cool.
Factory level. He just got second at they just did this first straight challenge in San Diego, and his son got second in that. And stage group. So his kid's really good.
What's kind of cool, because when I in the 80s, they shut down all the private skate parks. Mm-hmm. And then it was like, skateboarding is a crime or not a, whatever, that you couldn't skate anywhere. And then it seemed like 20 years ago, every city started building a skate park. Like almost every city Southern California has some kind of skate park. Now what's happening is bike parks they're opening up, pump tracks,
Bump tracks,
Bump
or
tracks.
and some really, really cool complexes. And they're, so it's cool. It's not like I know it's been fragmented with all the e-bike stuff, but it's still pretty popular. I mean, we do, starting in May, there's a local, it's a mountain bike series. Every Tuesday, I'll get out of work. It's 15 minutes from the shop, and we'll go over there and we'll go, red line it for an hour and hang out. And they get 600 racers there every
Wow.
Tuesday. Yeah. They got a kids race. It's a good family event. It's been going on for probably 12, 13 years now. So
It does suck that Orange County does not have a BMX track, because that was
not
BMX
anymore.
mecca.
I
But
go, and
I've seen online, there's been industry people that are still in that area that have been going, like they found a chunk of land. I mean, it's been ongoing. Toby Henderson's involved in it too, trying to get a BMX track back in Orange.
yeah, yeah, because one of my bike rides on another trail goes past the old Y track in Orange,
And
it's
they
just
didn't build nothing there, right? It's
no,
just
it's just
I heard the rent got too high because that was like an old landfill or something, so they can't build houses on that chunk of land anyway, right?
it's not that big of a property. It's in a weird spot. There's like a dog park next door, and it's just there's like a neighborhood on the other side of it, and it's like they tore that down maybe 6 years ago, and it's just a dirt lot now.
I listened to a bunch of BMX podcasts, and most of them are like locals at Orange Y, and it's like, oh, this and this guy came, got his factory ride by winning Orange locals, So yeah, it was a mecca. That's where I always thought I needed to move to California for both hot rods and BMX, and I'm glad I live in Tennessee.
Well, the Olympics, they're announced they're going to have. I think the BMX is going to be out here, and then they're building a mountain bike complex right adjacent to it.
Cool.
So
sometimes those tracks for BMX don't last because they're not the normal. BMX is one of the only sports that the track you see on the Olympics is not your normal track. It's a supercross, the big hill, 5-meter starting hill. There's only 5 of those other tracks in the country that has that big starting hill. So it's not like you watch hockey in the Olympics and you go to your local hockey thing. I mean, the difference is
the hockey rink.
The hockey rink. It's the place where the frozen water is. But like the difference is so big. Like the Olympics and hockey should have alligators on the ice or something. I mean, that's how much difference it is from your local.
Oh, okay,
It's that big of a difference. But so it hasn't really sparked the BMX world from being the Olympics as everybody thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Other than getting college scholarships for kids.
Yeah.
So.
No, it's cool. It's my release from when whether I'm having a good day or bad day, get on a bike and fixes everything really.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
So
we get that.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's changed my whole world because my hobby after music, my hobby was home brewing beer, and I got into that for a while, but man, I also gained a lot of weight.
Eric Pratt did well with that brewery that he had. Now Jesse Greening has one down south of that's in Alabama.
Yeah.
He opened a brewery down there and restaurant and everything right out in front of the hot rod shop. So
yeah, one of my former employees, I met him through the homebrew club, and he in 2020, right before the COVID deal, he opened up a brewery in Norco, not too far from Luke DeLay's shop. And so we're going to be doing a collaboration beer with him. I think we're brewing like that Monday or Tuesday of SEMA. So it's going to be a Boyd themed beer.
Oh, cool.
We're trying to come up with names for it. But
Hawaiian shirt special.
Something like that. It's going to have we've messed, I don't know. I mean, I'm a big beer enthusiast, so it's like, I don't know.
See, that's something now that popped into my head. The Hawaiian shirt that your dad was always wearing Hawaiian shirts. I had to wear a Hawaiian look shirt for working for NSRA. They hired me to do video stuff, and that's what they brought me with the NSRA logo. If I had a nickel for every person that said, "What do you think, you're Boyd Coddington today?" I was like everybody in the hot rod world, if you're in a Hawaiian shirt, they think you're a Boyd Coddington wannabe. Yeah.
Yeah.
So well, I don't know if that's the mark that your dad really would be happy with that he left on the hot rod world of other things, but he'd probably be okay.
Well, before Hawaiian shirts, it was cowboy shirts and cowboy boots and cowboy hats.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, and then,
I
yeah,
remember
then it just
we
kind of
got-
merged.
He did the coolest awards, and that much you guys had your award, a trophy section too. Here's my
Oh, that's dusty.
Oh, that's rad. Yeah.
yeah 2001 Scottsdale,
Nice.
and we won that with a green Buick. And at that show, he talked to me and kept coming back talking before he picked us for the award. And asked me where I was from, and he was like, "Hey, if you ever need a job, I got one for you." So he offered me a job in 2001 at the Scottsdale Fall Good Guys. We built the
Oh,
car,
that's rad.
debuted it at SEMA, left it out there, and was going to auction it later, like the cruise auction around Barrett Jackson and stuff. And then the other cool time, I mean, I've seen him a million times at shows. It was the time after the whole titling fiasco. Remember that? Like the shop got raided because the TV,
Oh.
it was during the TV show. and they were talking
Titling.
about-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh no,
And they
trust
had
me.
some-
I was there. I was there that day.
Yeah. And
I
like
thought I thought it was part of the. I thought it was I thought it was part of the TV show like planned
Like a
skit.
Yeah.
But then, I mean, they had every agency there because what they were trying to go after, they were trying to go after all the Cobra kit car guys, but it wouldn't have made the news. So, you know, they went after my dad, and yeah, it just that was crazy day. I was like, you know, DEA, FBI, ATF, every three-letter organization was at the shop that day.
And I remember at SEMA, SEMA had emergency like closed door meeting in one of the upstairs rooms, and everybody was standing there waiting to go in. And the SEMA people came and was like, "This isn't for everybody. This is," Boyd was standing there. I remember, I swear Fat Jack was there, a couple other people that I knew, and then just, industry people. And they're like, "If you don't have a car or something, if you're not California, you can't come in." And I kind of whispered to somebody, and I go, "Well, I'm here because we had a car from California in our shop, and I wanted to make sure when it went back to California, the title was going to be okay or something." So we went. And I still remember that. This was, I don't know what year was that titling thing.
2005, maybe.
Okay, so 4 years after that. And I remember Boyd says, "Tim can come in." This person, and he named like 5 people that was standing there that he thought should be in there. He might have heard me say that I had a California car in my shop, but he remembered my name. And I was like, "Oh my God." He's like, "Tim can come in." I was like, "That's
Nice.
one of the coolest days." Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, California, I'll just say it. California, when it comes to that kind of stuff, California sucks.
Yeah.
Chased a lot of the whole industry was in California at one point,
Yeah.
and they just chased everybody away,
I'm glad we moved from Illinois. The titling and the card things like that is very difficult there too for old cars. Tennessee's so far pretty chill on what we can do and how we title old cars. And I remember one time my dad bought an old car that had been titled, and then it sat for 7 years. So him and his buddies passed it around and worked on it. And then when he went to get license plates again, his buddy had it, and he had to pay 7 years worth of sticker because it was titled before. And it's just like, yeah, they're not very friendly there. Tennessee's like, okay, yeah, whatever. So
Yeah, and it's like it just with like emissions, it sucks because it's like you can put a brand new LS motor in these trucks and it's not legal, right? Unless you buy the 50 state legal one. But those things burn way cleaner than original motor.
Have you ever thought about moving out? I mean, workforce and stuff's cheaper out this way. All the mountain bike trails. Have you ever thought about getting out of California, or are you just born and bred and you're there till it's done?
I'm gonna do something. I mean, yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do. To be honest with you, I took my bike out to when we went to Tennessee. I took my bike out there and rode around in Knoxville and experienced the trails there. And, I don't know. I mean, Bentonville seems pretty cool. I don't know if I'd permanently locate somewhere else, but we'll see,
Cool. Well, we have talked 2 hours.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah. No, it's fun.
Most of ours go over 2 hours anymore. We had a couple that's hit 3. So
Yeah. Tim likes to talk. He likes to interrupt.
I like to hear the stories. And I got so many more questions because I've listened to every one of his podcasts at least 2 or 3 times. I've listened to Johnny Robinson, which we've had him on ours. I've listened to his 5 or 6 times. I've listened. The one that is one of my favorite, and I've never met him, is the Bowder Brothers. That one's really, really good. And of course, the Keith Russell. We're going to get Keith on here sometime soon. And you need to do more. I know
I know.
This is our date night, is what we do, so we get to do something
That's
together.
totally cool. Yeah, no.
Talk to our friends and hear stories.
Well, actually, I can't really show you, but we're going to move into a video podcast here probably by the end of the year. We're redoing our little studio, and it's a mess right now, but I posted a couple pictures today on Instagram of like, we're doing collages of old photos, old flyers. We're just going to plaster the walls and just move.
We are in our dining room in our house.
Yep.
That's where we
set
are.
Up right
nice.
Here, people walk through, or
well, that's why I have the background picture up here, because behind me there's nothing.
Our cleaning people that came today, so they must not dust my. They leave my Hot Wheels and my sign stuff alone. They probably think we're doing an OnlyFans page or something here.
Maybe we should.
Yeah, whatever pays. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they're not car people, so they're like, they see this stuff on the walls. It's like, oh, you're into cars, and they tell me I have more Hot Wheels than anybody that don't have kids, and we have way more cat toys than any other house that they clean.
Yeah.
So
how many cats you have?
We lost one a couple months ago. We have one in here. We have an outdoor cat that we feed and water everything, automatic feeders, and we think our outdoor cat, Mercury, because I found him sleeping in my 40 Mercury out in the barn. We think he wants in, but he doesn't understand that it means he stays in and he gets his nuts cut off. So he wants in really, really bad. Like he's sleeping in the bed in the garage right now.
Oh, okay.
So when she brought me into the house, I had to get my nuts cut. So
I didn't really cut them. I just keep them in my purse.
She keeps them in her purse.
Oh man. Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome.
So SEMA or no SEMA?
I'll probably be out there.
Okay.
No booth, but just hang out with everybody. It's my time of year to go meet with people that I talk to all year and go have a dinner and drink with some people, and
maybe we'll run into it. We'll be there, and we won't see it at Dino's. Then the next time I might see it, probably I usually run into it at the Grand National Roadster Show. And sometimes you go, sometimes you don't. You did.
No, I'm gonna have a booth again this next year. It was a good show.
Yeah,
it's a really good show.
Do you do the truck show? Do you do that show that they just had a couple weeks ago?
I went because we had Pat's truck there for the truck award, so I just helped him with that. But
and that's just one building, right? The truck show.
Yeah. My opinion, they need to just roll that award into the Grand National Roadster Show. Have like have the AMBR, Sloniker, and then the truck award, because it's just not, it's I don't know. It's.
But they've only done that 3 years now.
This is the 3rd year.
Yeah. I mean, online they're getting great trucks, but amazing trucks there. But
yeah, it's just it's tough because when people it's one building and you pay to get in and you can see the whole show in less than an hour. Where Grand National Roadster Show, you can spend a whole day there.
Yeah. Sure. Isn't there one more building that's kind of right there that they don't really use for Grand National Roadster Show?
Yeah, one of the halls they don't use, I think.
Because one year there was they had past magazine cover cars and stuff on the wall. It was almost looked like a museum piece. It wasn't the NHRA museum, but so I swear it's there, but maybe it's not big enough to do the truck stuff in there. But they could do it. They could do the truck stuff and curate it and do 12 or 15 like they do for Sloniker and Amber, and still, maybe. But we've not been out to the Wombat. I heard that's what we blame 48 for calling it the Wombat, the world's most beautiful truck. So we just had the VZ brothers on that actually just went live today, that they just won the Wombat.
Yeah.
With a Bowder started truck. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, totally cool. Well deserved.
Well, cool. Anything else that you want to mention? Anybody you want to thank? I want to say thank you for continuing on your dad's legacy. and doing an awesome job with it. And we thank your dad for what he did for this industry. He made it legit for a lot of people, changed the whole industry with the billet. And I mean, he was the first guy to do that stuff, and it didn't work out. And now some people maybe learned from what didn't work for him, and they're doing better on stock market stuff. But your dad was an innovator in all types of business, and we all owe him a huge thank you for what he did.
I wouldn't be here talking to you if it wasn't for him, you know?
Yeah.
We wouldn't be here either.
And the car levels, the level of cars would have been, it would have took them, I don't know how many years, 10, 15 years to get up to the level. Everything grows and gets better, and the quality is even, getting crazier, better. But I miss that era of imagination cars. I mean, there is some stuff, the Kindig Vet and Rad Rights cars and some Dutch Boys cars and stuff that are very imaginative. But back then you had Boyd building imaginative cars and one-offs and Cadzilla and corporate sponsored engine programs. And you had California Street Rods doing the same thing, and all those guys. And I use a little hashtag called Formula Build sometimes. And yeah, but everybody's driving their stuff. The chassis are better now and all that stuff. But I missed that 90s to early 2000s. Can't wait to open the magazine. What kind of crazy stuff. Like, I loved opening Hot Rod, and the beginning was, I still remember that because I still go through my magazines, when they had the under construction pictures of Cadzilla.
Yeah.
Or of the one I remember was Shazoom, when it was sitting on the chassis table with the checkered floors and mocked up quarters, and you kind of see a little bit of the roof line. And there was a picture of the, rectangular built chassis that he built. And I still love, I've got to see it a few times in person when I seen it at SEMA the last time, the Boyd Air. I take 50 pictures of that thing whenever I'm building a slightly roofed version of Boyd Air ish for myself that probably will never get done. Yeah.
No, that's rad.
Yeah.
No, man. But yeah, it's been fun, man. Hey, and I look at my dad, who was grew up on a farm, didn't have a toilet in the house till he was 5 or 6 years old, and he just went to California to chase his dreams,
Have almost 400 employees. How big, when the wheel shop was that big, how big was the hot rod shop? How many employees were in the hot rod category?
I'll say less than 20, maybe.
Okay.
Still a lot of people.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't have any employees, so yeah, dealing with that many people. That's why HR people are important.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Okay, man. Well, we want to thank
right.
Chris Coddington. Tell everybody where they can find you on social media to order up some wheels, and your website.
Hotrodsbyboyd.com, Hot Rods by Boyd on Instagram. Yeah, just check us out there. HRBB podcast. You can get that on Spotify or just directly off of our website.
Yeah,
So,
get back on. He gets.
I know.
We're feeding off some of his. We get some of his leftovers, and people that'll do, because people will do different podcasts, but every interviewer asks different questions.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So it's all a little bit different. But I love when you get the guys from the Boyd University and all that, the heyday stuff of all those guys. I mean, man, I can just listen to them stories over and over. So
it's the reason we started it, because everybody knows of the American hot rod era, but there's a whole history, all the influential cars and there's a whole history that before it got to that point. So
I know this guy. I say I know this guy. He says he doesn't like Cadzilla. I was like, that's why I don't call him a friend anymore. I was like, you don't like Cadzilla, I can't.
Who doesn't like Cadzilla?
Yeah. Not gonna say. We say his name on here a lot. We've mentioned him before. We've thrown him out.
He's a car guy?
Yeah, runs a hot rod shop.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. He doesn't listen to the podcast, so he ain't gonna hear this. So yeah, how do you not like Cadzilla? I don't know.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sure.
Well, thank you, Chris Coddington, for being a guest on the Strange Motion Way podcast.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. This was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Hey, welders, ready to upgrade your gear and save some serious dough in the process? The Miller Build with Blue Savings and Rebate Program has you covered. Find amazing deals and cashback rebates on a wide range of Miller products, from welders to plasma cutters and everything in between, all backed by our 3-year warranty. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. Take advantage of the Miller Build with Blue program now. Visit us online or stop by your nearest Miller distributor today to start saving.
The Strange Motion Away podcast, brought to you by
Royal Purple. Premium synthetic motor oils and high-performance chemicals have been designed to improve performance, provide long-term protection, and give you the confidence to push your vehicle to the limit. Royal Purple Premium Synthetic Motor Oils.